Welcome everyone, and thank you for joining us this evening for our Distinguished Alumni Awards. My name is Ashley Schaefer, and I am a student ambassador for the School of Education, and am completing my PhD in Applied Developmental Psychology. We have so many wonderful alumni to celebrate this evening. Each embody the mission and vision of our school in their careers and their communities. They advocate for their students. They are engaged with countless community partners, and they have dedicated their profession to shaping educational practice and policy. Through their work, they ignite learning each and every day. We thank you for all that you do, and we are honored to celebrate you tonight. Tonight, I am joined by Dr. Jerry Longo, President of the School of Education Alumni Society, and Dean Valerie Kenlock, who will host tonight's program. Dr. Longo is a retired K-12 educator and faculty member in our School of Education, and also a two-time alumnus of our school. He earned his PhD in Educational Administration in 1981 and Master of Education in Secondary Education with an emphasis on writing and literature in 1968. In an education career spanning 40 years, Dr. Longo worked as an English teacher, principal, central office administrator, school superintendent, and college professor. He served as superintendent of the Quaker Valley and Steel Valley school districts and received the Pennsylvania Superintendent of the Year Award in 1997. During his tenure at Pitt, Dr. Longo's teaching and scholarship focused on school leadership, and he served as director of the Forum for Western Pennsylvania School Superintendents. Dr. Valerie Kenlock began her tenure as the Renee and Richard Goldman Dean of the University of Pittsburgh School of Education in July 2017. Under her leadership, our school has adopted a forward-thinking mission vision that places equity, justice, and innovation at its core. This mission and vision encourages us to work together to always ignite learning, strive for well-being for all, and disrupt and transform inequitable structures. Dean Kenlock is a nationally known educator and author whose scholarship focuses on literacy, language, culture, and community engagements of youth and adults, both inside and outside of schools. Prior to joining the Pitt School of Education, Dean Kenlock was a faculty member and associate dean at the Ohio State University's College of Education and Human Ecology. Before Ohio State, Dean Kenlock taught at Columbia University's Teachers College and the University of Houston downtown. Please join me in welcoming Dean Kenlock and Dr. Longo.
Thank you, Ashley. As president of the University of Pittsburgh School of Education Alumni Society, I thank you for joining us for the 2021 Distinguished Alumni Awards celebration. Tonight, we honor and show our appreciation for School of Education alumni whose accomplishments are a source of pride for all of us and whose efforts inform the community why great universities like ours are a worthy public investment. The achievements of these prominent alumni clearly illustrate the value of a University of Pittsburgh education. On behalf of the School of Education's Alumni Society, it gives me great pleasure to welcome our distinguished award recipients, their families, friends, colleagues, and the broader School of Education community. Please accept our heartfelt congratulations and hail to Pitt.
Thank you, Dr. Longo, for those remarks, and thank you, Ashley, for opening our program tonight. I'm Valerie Kenlock. I am the Renee and Richard Goldman Dean of our School of Education here at the University of Pittsburgh. And I am beyond thrilled to join you tonight for our school's 2021 Distinguished Alumni Awards ceremony. I want to thank each and every one of you, from our students, our faculty, our staff, our alumni, our friends, our community leaders, and community partners for joining tonight's program. And as Mike and Jerry know, I look forward to having this ceremony each and every year. It's one of the highlights of my tenure as Dean of the School of Education. And I do understand that many of us might be disappointed that we are not in person. It is an unfortunate situation. However, I am thankful that we get to honor tonight's recipients of these various School of Education awards, and I'm thankful for the wonders of technology that allow us to continue to be together and to enjoy this really special occasion. And you know, there's another benefit for us to be online, to gather in this particular format. I know that people are tuning in from various parts of the world, not just in the state and in this nation, but we also have someone who is a 2012 graduate of our School of Education from Uganda. And his name is Mr. Silver Francis Anu. Thank you for being here. Thank you for joining us, Silver. And as your dean, I have to say that I am proud of the many accomplishments that we have been able to embark upon as a school. I am excited that I get to work with wonderful faculty and staff, that I get to partner with amazing students, and that I also get to understand the work that our alumni continue to do across the entire world. Tonight, we will honor 13 noteworthy individuals for their contributions to our school, and by extension to the university, and I must say to the broader field of education. Each of our recipients embody, in my belief, the mission and vision of our School of Education. And it's a new mission vision that calls on us to ignite learning, to strive for well-being for all, to commit to student, family, and community success, to innovate and agitate, to disrupt and transform in equitable educational structures, and to think, to dream, and to lead with integrity and with dignity. And though our recipients work in different fields, all of them are educators of impact and influence. They embody our mission vision, they teach, they advocate, and I do believe that each and every one of our recipients lead with integrity. I am extremely proud of all of you. I am proud of the work you continue to do in the world, and I am really looking forward to honoring each and every one of you tonight in our program. And so without further delay, I am excited to begin our program. And I want to start by recognizing our Distinguished Award recipients, starting with the Distinguished Student Leadership Award. And so we begin with a presentation of our Distinguished Student Leadership Award in recognition of a current student for outstanding contributions to our school community. Some of the activities that this awardee might engage in can include service on school committees, which this person does, and taking an active role in our school's Council of Graduate Students in Education, which she does. And let me just add in, Sarah, I know you're on camera. This is your award. I am extremely excited to present this award to you for Distinguished Student Leadership. It goes to Sarah E. Kurz. Sarah, congratulations. And I'm gonna say this. Sarah, you are a third-year PhD student in higher education in our school. Sarah is also our president for 2020-2021 of our Council of Graduate Students in Education. Sarah has helped to navigate the challenges of the pandemic from a student perspective. In addition, Sarah is a graduate research assistant, and she's examining undergraduate women in STEM fields and the effects on women's self-efficacy, sense of belonging, and career aspirations. Sarah, the first time I met you, I knew that I was in the company of someone who was doing great work. And you do not fail to continue to uplift the mission vision of our school. And so it is an honor for me to present this award to you.
Thank you so much, Dean Kenlock, for such a warm welcome. And thank you to the Alumni Society for the honor of this wonderful award. And I would also like to give a shout out to Shedrick McClendon for the nomination and for also being an amazing advisor to the Council of Graduate Students in Education. We wouldn't be able to do all this great work without you. With that being said, being a part of the School of Education has been such a wonderful opportunity for me. I cannot begin to explain how much I feel I have grown as a scholar and as a person in the last 3 years as part of the School of Ed. And it has just been such a blessing to be here. I'd also like to say that I decided to pursue higher education because I truly love working with students. So getting the Student Leadership Award is such a great honor because I really do love getting to work with my peers and being the person that they can come to or they can lean on when they have an idea or They want to try something new, or they have questions. It's just such a great feeling to be that person, and to hold that space with them. And I'm just surrounded by such knowledgeable, wonderful people in my peer group. And I wouldn't be who I am if it wasn't for them either. And I'd also like to kind of give a little shout out to my mom and dad, because they joined in today. And I wouldn't be a good leader if it wasn't for them either, because they taught me how to lead with integrity, but also with compassion. So thank you to my mom and dad. And thank you, Dean Kenlock, again for the wonderful welcome.
Thank you, Sarah, and congratulations again, Sarah. You know, we meet many different students on this path called life, and in our school, at the university, in the world. And I will honestly say that it has been a pleasure getting to know you. It's a pleasure to have you as our president of our Graduate Student Council. It is a pleasure to just know that you are doing great work in the world. And so from your dean to you, I say congratulations, and I am looking forward to the day where I can actually congratulate you in person. So again, thank you so very much, Sarah.
Thank you.
So we're going to continue on, and our next award we will be giving away are our Outstanding Alumni Dissertation Awards. And these awards are given to recent graduates to recognize professionalism and exceptional research completed by doctoral students. And we have two categories in this award. We have an award for Doctor of Philosophy, which is our PhD, and Doctor of Education, our EDD Dissertation Awards. And so first, I am extremely excited and pleased to honor Julia Adele Cavallo with our 2021 Outstanding EDD Dissertation Award. She's a 2020 graduate, and she is Director of Assessment and Institutional Research at St. Vincent College, where she is also a lecturer. She serves on several institutional committees and is on the board of directors of the Higher Education Data Sharing Consortium. And in her work, she strives to build systematic and sustainable processes for assessing student learning outcomes. Important in her work is social justice, which is core to what she does and how she thinks about the work. So I want to congratulate Dr. Cavallo on receiving this award. And if you are here, you can unmute yourself, get on camera, and feel free to say a few words.
Thank you, Dean Kenlock, for this nice award. And thank you, this School of Education Alumni Society. From as early as I can remember, I have been learning. And through the love and support of my parents, Jim and Kathy, my grandparents, Pat, Eva, Kay, and Paul, and my sister, Rachel, my love of learning started when I was at home. Earning a doctorate in the School of Education is a testament to all of my teachers in my life, from my kindergarten teacher, Miss Jackie, to my dissertation advisor, Dr. Jean Ferkatish. It is through the dedication of every single teacher, both formal and informal, that I have continued to grow, remain curious, and determined to keep learning. I want to especially thank Dr. Ferkatish because she mentored me and pushed me to reach goals that I never dreamed imaginable for myself. Thanks also to my committee members, Dr. Colleen Mayowski and Dr. John Smetanka, for their dedicated service. I could not have earned my degree and done my dissertation without the support of my colleagues, Jess, Melinda, Dave, and Annie Laurie, my brother-in-law, Patrick, my aunts, uncles, cousins, monks, and some extraordinary friends, Margaret, Terrence, Marissa, Colby, Jody, and Coy, who have supported me along this journey. And I hope through my example that my two nieces, Eva and Adele, and my son, Shamar, will never stop learning, never stop trying, never give up hope, and always give maximum effort in everything that they do. Hail to Pitt.
Thank you so much, Julia, for those words. And let me also say, as we're transitioning to the next award, I am really, I feel a sense of honor to be giving these awards away tonight. I'm honored to be the Dean of the School of Education, and I'm honored when I hear former students who are now an alum talk about learning and talk about hope. And so I do want to thank you again, Julia, for your words. And I want to say again, congratulations on receiving this award. And so next, I have the honor of recognizing our 2021 Outstanding PhD Dissertation Award recipients. And that person is Rachel Ann Sheelis. She is a 2020 graduate of our School of Education, and she is now Assistant Professor of Practice and Coordinator of the Visual Disabilities Program at Vanderbilt University's Peabody College of Education. And in her dissertation, Rachel explored special education services and the variations in eligibility criteria across the United States. She specializes in teaching students with visual impairments, and she is also a past scholar with the National Leadership Consortium in Sensory Disabilities. I want to congratulate you, Rachel, on getting this award, on continuing to do the wonderful work that you do. And if you could get on camera and unmute yourself and say a few words, that would be wonderful.
Thank you, Dean Kenlock, and thank you to the School of Education and Alumni Society for awarding me with this PhD dissertation award. And of course, I need to thank my advisor and dissertation committee members, Drs. Tessa McCarthy, Karen Blankenship, Najib Shafiq, and Rachel Robertson for your support and guidance. And a big thank you to my friends and family for all of your support during the entirety of my doctoral program. So my dissertation was a mixed method study attempting to understand the prevalence or number of students with visual impairments, including blindness, in the US. It's unknown how many students with visual impairments receive special education services. And this is because the federal count of students with disabilities only counts students by their primary disability label and not by all of their disabilities. Given this, the first component of my dissertation was a national state survey, which revealed that on average, states are actually supporting about 3.5 times the number of students with visual impairments reported in the federal count during the 2017-18 school year. So what this means is that if a state is reporting 500 students with visual impairments, they're likely supporting closer to an average of 1,800 students. Simply put, planning for 500 students when there's actually 1,800 significantly impacts staffing decisions, materials and equipment, budgeting, and systemic supports for our students and teachers in the field. A key finding from my national state survey is that only about 50% of the states actually know the number of students with VI that they're supporting. Every student with a visual impairment, whether it's their primary or secondary disability, deserves to be counted and recognized as part of our student population. So to understand how we might be able to tackle this inequity, I conducted a series of focus group with leaders across 9 different states. I learned so much about state level administration and data management considerations, nuanced policy differences across states. Having these in-depth conversations around what did and didn't work around each state was truly impactful. And I know many people don't get to say this, but my dissertation was actually an enjoyable process because of it. Or most of my dissertation was because of that. So I just want to end by saying that my dissertation is just a testament to the fact that it does take a village. Countless colleagues throughout the country volunteered their time and energy to respond to my survey, participate in the focus groups, and help me make connections. I'm so grateful to be in a field and to have been at the School of Education where there's such open support and collaboration to do what is needed to best serve and support our students. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Rachel, for those comments. And let me also say, Rachel, I appreciate you saying that the dissertation process was enjoyable. And then I think you said, well, most of it. And so I also appreciate the fact that you say it takes a village, because oftentimes people don't realize the work that folks have to do when they are in a doctoral program and to actually get to that stage of dissertating. And so clearly you have not only successfully finished, defended, and moved on from the dissertation process, but you understand the nature of being in community with other people. And for that, I thank you. So again, congratulations to you, Rachel, on this award. So our next award, we are going to now move into giving awards for our schools, departments. And these awards recognize individuals whose professional contributions are so significant that they have come to the attention of the departments in our School of Education. And these are the departments from which these recipients have graduated. And so before I move on, I do want to just take a moment to sort of untease or untangle what we will be doing moving forward after this current year. So our School of Education has been reorganized. We have 3 departments as of 2020 May. And eventually, because of that reorganization in these 3 new academic departments, we will eventually transition awards to reflect our new structure. However, I do want to honor and recognize all of the work that has gone into our former structure and the people who actually made these departments what they were, which graduated many students and were phenomenal in their own way. And so our new departments are Department of Educational Foundations, Organization, and Policy, the Department of Health and Human Development, and the Department of Teaching, Learning, and Leading. And these 3 new departments are the basis for future awards going forward. However, tonight, we're going to honor our former departments and the recipients of these department awards. And I am going to begin with our award for the Department of Administrative and Policy Studies and Education. And as I go into this award, I do want to say that this next recipient, I've met many different times on various occasions. And every time that we interact, there is a sense of knowingness. You meet someone and you feel as if you know that person. And in fact, I feel as if I know you, Dr. Mary Catherine Railjack, who is getting our 2020 award on behalf of the Department of Administrative and Policy Studies. She earned her Doctor of Education from our school in 2016. She is currently superintendent of the Fox Chapel Area School District here in the Pittsburgh area. But before she joined Fox Chapel, she served as assistant superintendent of the Franklin Regional School District. She previously worked in the Pine Richland, Gateway, and Hempfield area school districts, which are all located across the Pittsburgh region, the Pittsburgh area. And so it brings me great pleasure to ask you, Dr. Mary Catherine Railjack, to get on camera and unmute yourself and offer a few words. And so from me to you, congratulations on receiving this important recognition.
Thank you, Dr. Kenlock, for that lovely introduction, and thank you for your kind words. I feel the same way when we've talked as well, so I enjoy being able to converse with you and work with you. I want to thank the School of Education and the Alumni Association, Dr. Longo, and all of those who were kind enough to nominate me for this award and to recognize me. I'm truly honored and humbled by it. When I began in the University of Pittsburgh, I knew that what I learned from my professors and my colleagues in my studies would be instrumental in my career. I just didn't know how instrumental it would be. And in the School of Education, I found myself grateful for the challenges. And most days, I will add that, there were some days that the challenges seemed undaunting, but because there was also support from colleagues, support from my classmates, support from my professors, and support from just the Pitt community, I was able to engage in those challenges and really grow. I was invigorated by the dialogue, and I really felt prepared to move on in my career, whatever it might entail. What I did not foresee at that time was leading a school district in the middle of a health crisis. And many of us have had to find new ways of leading and new ways of learning. And one of the things that came to mind as I took on a new role this year and led a district while we were dealing with so many unknowns and still are really the lessons that I learned at the University of Pittsburgh and how you can rely on the constructs of problem solving, you can rely on your ability to conduct research and to learn, and you can rely on your network in order to be able to collaborate and to receive advice, to receive encouragement, or just to listen whenever you needed someone to listen to. And so I really do credit not only the University of Pittsburgh, but all the schools for preparing me for that step. And I thank them for that. I want to thank all of those at the University of Pittsburgh. I also want to thank my professional colleagues. And I've worked my entire career here in Western Pennsylvania. So I count many people in this region as well as nationally as my professional colleagues, and each one of them have taught me something. I really want to thank the Fox Chapel area family for their love and support as well. And my friends and my family, especially my parents, my sister, my husband, Jason, my in-laws, and all of those who have supported me and also been patient with me as we engage in a learning process. And I never really would have known when I entered the School of Education just how life-changing it would be and how it would prepare me to take on such rewarding roles and responsibilities in my professional career. And I look forward to continuing to collaborate with the University of Pittsburgh and the School of Education moving forward. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Mary, for those comments. And I'm sitting here listening to you and the things that you've said, particularly about being invigorated to learn, to collaborate with people. And I do not want to miss the point that you just said in terms of leading during a pandemic. And I think that is really important to acknowledge and to recognize. You stepped into this role as superintendent of Fox Chapel, and here's a pandemic. And from everything that I've been reading about you and what you're doing, you are leading phenomenally. And I just want to thank you again for all of the work that you do. And so we honor you, we recognize you, and I do hope that our paths will continue to cross.
Thank you, Dean Kenlock.
Thank you. So our second departmental award is in honor of the Department of Health and Physical Activity. And I am honored to present this award to Dr. Niall Moyna. He is a professor of clinical exercise physiology in the Dublin City University's School of Health and Human Performance in Dublin, Ireland. He completed his doctorate in exercise physiology from our School of Education in 1993. And then he completed a 3-year NIH postdoctoral research fellowship in immunology at the University of Pittsburgh, right here. His research focuses on the role of exercise in the prevention and treatment of chronic disease. I have to also say that he is a fellow of the American College of Sports Medicine and honorary fellow of the Faculty of Public Health Medicine, Ireland. Additionally, he has established a sports academy in Dublin City University, and he has coached the university's football team to 4 national Division I collegiate titles. It is a pleasure to meet you. It is a pleasure to give this award to you. And so please join me in congratulating Dr. Niall Moyna on this award. And so if you could get on camera and unmute yourself, that would be great. Congratulations to you.
Well, first of all, thank you very much, Dean Kenlock and the School of Education Alumni Society. It's a thrill and an honor to be receiving this evening. I would also like to acknowledge and congratulate all the other recipients. I think I'm certainly in exalted company here. And I would also like to thank Dr. Fred Goss and Elizabeth Nagel, who took the time to nominate me, because I do know that it does take time to gather information on a candidate and submit. That does take time, and I really appreciate that. You know, obviously we're closed down as well because of the pandemic. So today I went in to the university to pick up the glass vase, and your letter was in the package, Dean, and I looked at the envelope, and it brought me back to May 1988, when I received the same envelope to tell me that I'd been accepted to the PhD program at Pitt. And obviously it was life-changing for me. And I fell in love with Pitt on the night of August the 21st, when I arrived through the far end of the Fort Pitt tunnel and saw the city. I said, this is where I want to be. It was just beautiful. And it's funny, we have an Irish word. It's called C-R-A-I-C. And it's pronounced crack. So if you have a lot of fun at the weekend, we would say we had a lot of crack at the weekend. And that's an Irish saying. So very early in my PhD, at one of our staff meetings on a Monday morning, I announced to all the staff saying I had great crack at the weekend. And my advisor, Dr. Robertson, took me aside and said, look, what you do in your own time is your own business, but I wouldn't be broadcasting that. So I had to explain to them, obviously, this is a cultural difference. But look, it has been life transforming for me. You know, I'm reminded of the Irish poet William Butler Yeats, when he quoted that education is not the filling of a pail, but the lighting of a fire. And Pittsburgh lit my fire. It provided me, you know, with a canvas that has allowed me to weave a rich tapestry over the last 30 years. And, you know, I was very lucky. The previous dean, Ken Metz, was in the faculty, and I had Ken teaching me as well, Fred Goss, but I was blessed to have a supervisor in Dr. Bob Robertson. He taught me so much about life. It's only now when he would take our old notes and our submissions, he would take a pencil out and line by line would go through each of our documents. And it's only now I realized that probably took 5 or 6 hours. That's the genuine interest he had in us all. He also created this mentality of a team. And I have done clinical research now. So most of my research involves teams of 5, 6, 7, 8 PhD students collecting data. And it was because of Bob that I developed that team approach. And the other thing that Pittsburgh has done, it has obviously provided me with rich knowledge and has allowed me in Ireland here to become a national advocate for the role of exercise throughout the lifespan. And I think going forward, I would like to see, because I work in the university here in Ireland, I would like to see if we could develop close links between our university and the University of Pittsburgh. Finally, I would like to say that anytime I applied for promotion and people ask me, how do you define yourself? I always say, even though I have 180 research papers, I would always say I'm a passionate educator. And I think a lot of another Irish word is graw. My graw or my love for education comes from my time at the University of Pittsburgh. So before I go, I would like to thank everyone for this award. And in particular, I would like to thank my family and my wife, because none of this would have been possible without their assistance. So thank you very much.
Thank you. And before I move on, I want to say thank you for those comments, because clearly I have learned 2 new words. And if I pronounce these correctly, graw, your love of, and crack. And so you actually said in class, crack. I will remember that. And let me also say, I'm not only taking those 2 new words from your comments, I'm also taking what you just said in terms of partnerships and being in collaboration. And I would love to be able to explore opportunities with you and your university. I also want to say that it's exciting for me to hear that even after these years, you believe that Pitt's lit a fire and propelled you forward. And so it just warms my heart to hear that from an alum, and to also, know that you had a life-changing and transformative experience here. So from me to you, congratulations. And I really do hope that our paths will continue to cross beyond today. All right, so we're going to keep going, and we're going to continue on with our departmental awards. And this time I am going to turn to the Department of Instruction and Learning. And I am extremely excited to present this award to Rebecca S. Pringle. Rebecca earned her Bachelor of Arts degree from our School of Education in 1976. Rebecca is, by any stretch of the imagination, a highly accomplished educator who has taught in schools for more than 30 years. And today I am excited that she serves as our president of the National Education Association, or NEA, which serves approximately 3 million educators, and as such is the country's largest labor organization. I want to repeat that. She serves as president of the National Education Association, which serves approximately 3 million educators, and hence it represents the country's largest labor organization. Rebecca is a fierce warrior for racial and social justice, for educational equity. Rebecca is a fierce warrior, and she's also a defender of educational rights. I have been following Rebecca's work for so many years, and it just brings me pleasure to know that she seeks to use the collective power of NEA to transform public education into a more equitable system. Prior to becoming president, she was the NEA vice president and also the NEA secretary treasurer. So please join me in congratulating Rebecca on this important award. Thank you for being here. And if you can get on camera and unmute yourself, that would be great.
Oh my, Dean Kenlock, thank you so much for that very generous introduction. It is truly a great honor to be presented with the Instruction and Learning Distinguished Alumni Award. I have it right here. It's beautiful. Congratulations to my fellow awardees. Thank you, Dr. Longo and Dr. Haas. You know, oh my goodness, for as long as I can remember, I wanted to be a teacher. From the time I forced my two sisters to play school on the front steps of my North Philly home to the time I stepped into my first classroom, wide-eyed and filled with enthusiasm, a sense of hope and promise. You know, no teacher ever feels fully prepared when they become the teacher of record, responsible for the learning and lives of their precious students. But I soon realized I had what I needed because of my time at Pitt. From my professors to my academic advisors to my resident assistants, to Pitt, and more specifically, the School of Education, it not only helped me realize my dream, but it prepared me to be on this leadership journey that allowed me the honor of representing the 3 million members of the NEA, the amazing people who are using their collective power to realize the vision I've challenged them with when I became president in the middle of a pandemic. And that was that NEA would unite not just our members, but the entire nation to reclaim public education as a common good, as the foundation of this democracy, and then transform it into something it was never designed to be. A racially and socially just and equitable system that prepares every student, everyone, to succeed in a diverse and interdependent world. This past Sunday, I gathered with 5 of my fellow Pitt graduates, all accomplished in their own right because of their time at Pitt. Between us, we remember so many pivotal moments that shaped our time here and what we would bring to the world as each of us set out to live into our purpose. I met my incredible husband in the lobby of Tower B, where so many of us gathered after classes, some during classes. I found my voice at Pitt. Not only did I actively join our student body's fight for racial and social justice, but when I started my student teaching in Wilkinsburg, I began to understand that racial justice is education justice. Economic justice is education justice. Because of the exploration and learning, the relationships and activism and the support and mentorship and encouragement I got at Pitt, I've been able to use my voice and then join it with others to fight until all of our students know that we will demand that this country live up to those first 3 words of our Constitution. We the people. That means all of us, women and men, gay, straight, transgender, non-binary, Black, white, brown, indigenous, differently abled. It means we. All of us have that right, that moral right to pursue happiness, to be fully human. Thank you again for this honor. I thank my family for supporting, encouraging, and lifting me up and allowing me to lean on them. And I have to tell you that I must accept this honor on behalf of the men and women who have dedicated their lives to educating America's children. Together, we will continue to do everything we must to be worthy of our children. Thank you.
Rebecca. Oh my goodness. Rebecca, let me just say, the warrior in you for educational justice and equity is powerful and it's inspiring. And everything that I know about your work, everything that I know about you propels me to continue to do the work that I do here at the University of Pittsburgh, in our School of Education, and in our larger communities. I am honored to be able to give you this award. And I am truly looking forward to the day that you and I can be in community one-on-one with each other. So from me to you, thank you for doing the work that you do. And again, congratulations on this really important award. So thank you so much. We have wonderful alumni. I have given away a few awards already in recognition of the great work of our alum from the School of Education. And it just continues to bring me joy to not just hear about the work that was started when people were here as students, but also the work that people continue to do in the world. And our next recipient is another example of a distinguished alumni who has committed to this work and who has given of her heart and her soul and her energy to ensure that we are engaging in the work that we are meant to do with each other and on behalf of other people. This is our final departmental award. It is for the Department of Psychology and Education. And I am delighted, I am thrilled, I am excited to present this award to a person many of us know very well. And I've had the pleasure of at least getting to know this person for the last almost 4 years after starting at the University of Pittsburgh as your dean, and just before she retired. This award goes to Dr. Cynthia J Popovich. And Dr. Popovich is a two-time alumna who earned her master's degree in 1984 and her EDD in 2016. She is a retired professor who taught for 21 years in the School of Education right here at the University of Pittsburgh. She was an assistant professor of practice in our Applied Developmental Psychology program, where she also served as coordinator of the baccalaureate program. And Dr. Popovich has just been active in many professional associations. She also serves as editor of the Journal of Child and Youth Care Work. Dr. Popovich is an amazing human being, and it brings me great honor to congratulate you as a recipient of this award. So, Dr. Cynthia J Popovich, if you can get on camera and unmute yourself.
Okay. Thank you, Dean Kenlock, and thank you, Michael, for putting this whole event together. And thank you to my family and friends who I know have Zoomed in and are watching. And just want to thank all of you for the way you lift me up and for your support. And especially I'd like to thank Dr. Karen Vanderven, who is a former professor of mine from my master's program, who has followed me through my whole career and has nominated me for this award, and I really am honored. I've actually, if you listen to Dean Kenlock speak, understand that I spent most of my life at Pitt, getting a master's degree and then getting my doctoral degree, which took a pretty long time, I'm not gonna lie, and then eventually teaching, as Dean Kenlock said, for 21 years. I have been influenced by so many professors and so many bright colleagues and bright students over the years. One of the things that I've learned as I reflected on this award is that teaching is a lot more than just imparting knowledge. When you get a student, you get the whole student. You get the student's fears and the challenges and their self-perception when they arrive at in your classroom. But you also get the joys that come with having students as they find jobs that they love and they find grad programs that help them to continue to learn. So in closing, I just want to say I really appreciate the time that I spent at Pitt to help me become a better teacher and to have impacted many, many student lives. I really appreciate it, and thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Popovich. And, you know, from your comments, I will say, I appreciate you focusing on teaching as a holistic approach. It's not just the parts that we think that we should get, that we get when students walk into the classroom. It's everything. And you talked about the fears and the challenges, but you also talked about the joy. And I want to thank you for that, because it's the holistic approach to teaching, to learning, and to engaging that clearly you have modeled for more than 21 years. So thank you again. It's been a pleasure for our paths to cross. I am honored to know you. And just thank you for being such a dedicated member of our School of Education community. Congratulations to you on this award.
Appreciate it.
So our next award is to honor alumni who have graduated from our School of Education within the last 10 years. And this award, or these awards, I should say, recognize the early accomplishments and promising future of our alumni. And this year, I am pleased to present the award to 2 recipients. So first, I have the pleasure to present this award to Dr. Seth A. Creasy, the 2021 Distinguished Early Career Award. Seth is a 2-time alum who earned his master's degree in 2013, and he earned his PhD in 2016. He is an assistant professor in the division of, and Seth, please forgive me if I pronounce this wrong, but Seth is an assistant professor in the division of endocrinology, metabolism, and diabetes at the University of Colorado, their medical campus. And his research focuses on identifying and testing novel strategies for treating and preventing obesity. He also holds a National Institutes of Health Career Development Award for his important groundbreaking work. So Seth, it is a pleasure to congratulate you and to give you this award on behalf of our School of Education. If you could join me on camera and say a few words, I would be honored.
Thank you, Dean Kenlock, for that kind introduction. And I'd also like to just thank the University of Pittsburgh, the School of Education, and the Alumni Association for selecting me for this award. It's an honor to be recognized for this early career award. I would also like to thank Dr. John Jakisik for nominating me for this award. He has always believed in me and supported me, beginning way back when I was a student and continuing now as I am a faculty member at the University of Colorado medical campus. He is one of the most dedicated, selfless professors that I've ever met in academia. And he remains one of the best mentors that I could ever ask for. This goes back to 2012 when I was a young and quite frankly stupid master's student in the Department of Health and Physical Activity. And I wanted to get my PhD in exercise physiology, but I didn't really know what I wanted to do with it. And so I sat down and had a conversation with Dr. Jakisik. And shortly after that, I started working in his laboratory, and I immediately just fell in love with all of the research that he conducts. And for those of you who don't know, his research focuses on treating and preventing obesity through lifestyle change. And I just love this work because it gave us an opportunity to transform people's lives through education about diet, exercise, and weight loss. And at the end of the day, even if our scientific research question was a total failure, it didn't matter because we still got the opportunity to help people become the healthiest version of themselves. And for me, that was what it was all about. And this continues to be my passion to this day. So I just want to thank Dr. Jakisik for helping me to find that career ambition. I would also like to thank my parents who are online watching today. They've always encouraged me in my educational pursuits. And I would like to thank my wife, Hannah, for supporting me through my PhD, which is always difficult, and also continuing to support me daily. I hope that I can continue to positively impact the world through my research. And I hope that I can continue to make the University of Pittsburgh proud. Proud of Pitt.
Thank you for your comments. And, let me also acknowledge you acknowledging our faculty members, and particularly Dr. Jakisik. It's important for us to understand that the work that we all do, I hope, has been informed by the mentorship of other people. And so clearly for you, you've been mentored by a faculty member, Dr. Jakisik, and our School of Education. And I do believe, from what I know of your work, that there's a part in our mission vision statement where we talk about, we approach learning as intertwined with health, wellness, and human development. And the work that you do clearly embodies that part of our mission vision statement. And so from me to you, congratulations on this important award. And just thank you for doing the work that you are doing in the world. It's wonderful. And I am excited to be able to honor you tonight.
Thank you.
And so next, I am also pleased to recognize Dr. Jasmine D. Williams with the 2021 Distinguished Early Career Award. Jasmine is a two-time alum of our School of Education who earned her master's degree in 2014 and her PhD in 2018. She is a research scientist for the Committee for Children in Seattle, Washington. Her work focuses on leveraging developmental science to create more equitable educational spaces for young people. And in that way, Jasmine has remained true to the heart of the training that she received from our School of Education's Applied Developmental Psychology program. And so Dr. Jasmine Williams, congratulations on being the 2021 Distinguished Early Career Award recipient. And if you can join me on camera and say a few words, that would be great. Congratulations.
Thank you, Dean Kenlock, for that wonderful introduction. At my time in the School of Education, I always felt inspired and challenged by the faculty, staff, and students around me. But I don't think I realized back then how profoundly my time at the School of Education would impact my life. In moments of introspection, fear, and curiosity, I often find myself traveling back to interactions with my colleagues at the School of Ed. Those memories always ground me in a sense of purpose, and I will forever be grateful for the relationships and wisdom I've been able to carry forward in my life and career. So I want to thank my partner and my family for their unwavering support over the years during my graduate program, as well as in the transition to my career. My School of Education family for continuing to encourage and support my growth as an applied researcher, with a special shout out to Drs. Tanner Wallace, Shannon Wanless, Roger Carey, as well as Ashley Schaefer. My dear friend and one of my biggest cheerleaders, Shannon Finley, who nominated me for this award. My esteemed colleagues at Committee for Children who have stretched my thinking in so many ways. I am still very much a student, constantly learning across departments and from the teachers, students, and school administrators I have the privilege of working with every day. I deeply appreciate everyone at Pitt for the work that you do to create a more just society. And I am truly humbled and honored to be receiving this award today. So thank you so much, Dean Kenlock, School of Education, and the Alumni Association. And I can't leave without thanking God for allowing me to be here and for my many blessings in life. So thank you, and hail Pitt.
Thank you, Jasmine. And I keep thinking, I think you graduated with the first class that I graduated as Dean of the School of Education. If I'm not mistaken, maybe not. And just to have you here tonight and to accept this award, it brings me joy. And I also will say that I agree with you in terms of having those moments of introspection, as you talked about, and being returned to the sense of purpose, why you do this work, how you are prepared to continue to do this work and to lead in the wonderful ways that you lead. So Jasmine, congratulations on this award. Our next award is the Distinguished Pre-K-12 Educator Award. And it's this award that recognizes a pre-K through 12 educator or pre-K through 12 educators for outstanding accomplishments in the classroom, in administration, and through support services, extracurricular activities, and other related programs. And this year, we will honor 2 exceptional alumni for their contributions. So first, I am delighted to honor Dr. Virginia R. Hill with the 2021 Distinguished Pre-K-12 Educator Award. And let me offer you a bit of context. Dr. Hill earned her EDD from our School of Education in 2014. She is founding principal of the Environmental Charter High School right here in Pittsburgh. With over 30 years of experience as an educator, Dr. Hill has held a variety of roles in K-12 educational contexts. She has been a teacher, a school administrator, a science supervisor, and a curriculum and professional development director. She has been a wonderful colleague to so many people within the Pittsburgh schools. And among her many focus areas, she specializes in building positive school climates and supporting various school improvement efforts. I know of Dr. Hill. I have seen Dr. Hill in action, and I can tell you that Dr. Hill is an amazing educator. So please join me in congratulating Dr. Virginia Hill on her award. And if you can do me the pleasure of getting on camera and unmuting yourself to say a few words, I would be very thankful.
Thank you, Dr. Kenlock. Thank you, Dr. Longo. Thank you, Michael. Good evening, Pitt family and friends. I'm so humbled to receive the K-12 Educator Award, and I loved my crystal ball. Thank you for that. Gratefulness fills my heart for the recognition I've received for my work, because I know firsthand of educators that I have and currently work alongside that are as capable, if not more, of winning this award. My recent educational successes have been marked and shaped by my experiences at the University of Pittsburgh. Being at Pitt has been transformative for my practice and my philosophy of education. I'd like to thank Dr. Gunzenhauser for nominating me. If I never received this award, just knowing I received a nomination from him and that he believed me deserving of this honor was more than enough. Thanks, Dr. Gunzenhauser. I'd like to thank Dr. McClure for being an amazing advisor and friend through my studies and all my career challenges. I'd like to thank 4 different but life-changing teachers, Mr. Robert Burley, Ms. Linda Ross Brown, Ms. Jackie Boyer, and Ms. McDonald. Sorry, I don't know your name because you were my 4th grade teacher and you just didn't share names back then. But I want to thank you all for your guidance and believing in me. And in the spirit of Women's History Month, I want to lift up 2 strong Black educators, Dr. Linda Lane and Dr. Regina B. Hawley. Thank you for your leadership and your mentorship of me. I'd like to thank every amazing Pittsburgh student that blessed my life and walked this path with me and taught me how to be an amazing administrator. I thank my students today, and you'll always be my babies. And I thank my current ECS, Environmental Charter family, my Environmental Charter School family, for allowing me to be a part of this amazing experience as we grow global citizens. I couldn't take the time and not say thank you to my family. I love you, my family, my husband and my children. Thank you for being my biggest fan, my cheerleaders, and thank you for sharing our family's love in every single school that I've been able to be a part of. The knowledge, the connections, and the growth that I've developed at this auspicious university has helped me find my voice and my place in education. I'm proud to be an educator, and for this, I will forever say, hail to Pitt. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you so much, Virginia, for those comments. And I want to thank you also for recognizing so many people, particularly Linda Lane and Regina Hawley, and especially students, because our students are, I hope, our motivation for continuing to do this work. And I know that they are your motivation. You have done tremendous work, and it's just a joy to actually give you this award. So thank you for all that you have done and continue to do. And I look forward to connecting with you soon. And so next, I am pleased to also recognize Dr. Janet Marie Sardon for the 2021 Distinguished Pre-K-12 Educator Award. She is a 2-time alum of our School of Education, who earned a master's degree in 1999 and her EDD in 2003. She is currently superintendent of the Young School District in Westmoreland County. And let me just be clear, during her 27-year career as an educator, she has worked in many different area schools. She has been an emotional support special education teacher, director of technology, a middle school principal, a high school principal, and an assistant superintendent. Among her many professional appointments, she is an executive board member on the Tri-State Study Council, and she is vice president of the Consortium for Public Education. Janet is an amazing educator, and I am very honored to present this award to you. So if you can get on camera and offer a few words, that would be great.
Thank you, Dean Kenlock. I've spent a great deal of time thinking about what I would say as a superintendent who has received a pre-K to 12 Distinguished Educator Award. The more I thought about this honor, the more privileged I feel, as although I am a superintendent, my very favorite part of what I do every day is educating and teaching others. It is the part of my work that brings me the most gratification, the most pride, and the part that makes the biggest impact on the future of education. During these challenging educational times, there are just a few things I would like to briefly mention. The first and foremost is in education, we need to surround ourselves with good people. I would not be here today if it wasn't for those people who have influenced or continue to influence me on a daily basis. I want to thank Dr. Diane Kirk for nominating me and for her willingness to mentor and help when asked, and for her continuing to make the University of Pittsburgh and the Tri-State Study Council an excellent educational resource for schools. I want to thank Dr. Longo for his mentorship as an educator and administrator and his work in the Western Pennsylvania Superintendent's Forum. I will always strive to be as respected in my career as both Dr. Kirk and Dr. Longo. I want to thank my principals, my administrators, and my teachers who make my job easier every day, more fun, and on some days more bearable. I am fortunate to have one of the best teams in the state, and I cannot say enough about their impact on my career and on education. I want to thank my school board for making tough decisions for the benefit of our schools and students and education. School boards don't always get enough credit for work they do that is unpaid and many times unappreciated. I, of course, want to thank my daughter, who has grown into a young lady we all hope for our children, my sister, who believes that there's mostly good in the world, and my husband, who puts up with me every day, doesn't get much food sometimes for dinner, and is patient and unconditionally supports me regardless of situation and circumstance. Being an educator doesn't just mean being a teacher of students and subject matter. It means so much more. It means teaching others the importance of reading, writing, math, music, technology, arts, humanities, and athletics. But it also means educating others on character, compassion, kindness, understanding, respect, and honesty. Nowadays, teaching and educating has become more than reading, writing, and math. People forget that being an educator is everyone's job and everyone's responsibility. And during this pandemic, this has really become a reality. Finally, one of the most important mantras that I try to live by is always leave anywhere you have worked or anything you have chosen to do in life better than when you started or better than when you arrived. If all of us can do this one simple task, the world will continue to become a better place every single day. As an educator and being recognized in that capacity, I would be remiss if I didn't recognize and share this accomplishment with the thousands of educators in our region that have worked double time, overtime, and around the clock during one of the most challenging eras of our time. A special thank you to them as they prepare our children to become adults in a world that looks a bit different than it did 2 years ago. Finally, I want to thank the University of Pittsburgh. The time I spent receiving my master and doctoral degree was a very impactful time in my career. The knowledge I gained, the relationships I built, and the connections I made have and will continue to make a difference in my educational journey. I am touched, I am proud, and I am humbled by this award. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Janet. And Janet, before you get off camera, you said so many powerful things there. You honor the thousands of educators in this region who continue to persevere and who continue to do the work that many people might not choose to do. You are an amazing leader. You are an amazing educator. And you also talked about, what it means to be an educator. It's not just teaching, as you talked about. You said it's teaching, it's being compassionate, it's being kind, it's having integrity. And everything that you have said actually reflects who you are. And so I am honored that you are an alum of our school. I am honored to be able to give this award to you, but I'm also honored to be able to take a back seat and watch you do the wonderful work that you do. And so from me to you, thank you for being who you are. And thank you for everything that you continue to give, not just to our school, not just to education, but to this region. So I just wanted to thank you personally, or maybe publicly. So thank you, Janet.
Thank you very much.
And finally, we have our Distinguished Alumni Award. And it's a pleasure to present this award. It is our school's highest alumni award that recognizes a career of service and contributions to the field of education. And this year, and you probably could tell, we have a wonderful group of alumni. We have wonderful people in our School of Education here at the University of Pittsburgh. So it should be no surprise that we have two people who we are honoring with this distinction. And for the first Distinguished Alumni Award, I'm proud, I'm excited to present this award to Dr. Isabelle L Beck. Dr. Beck is Professor Emerita in our School of Education and a Senior Research Scientist with Pitt's Learning, Research, and Development Center. She received all three of her degrees from the University of Pittsburgh, including a Bachelor of Science in 1953, a Master of Education in 1964, and her PhD in 1973. She is a world-respected researcher in the areas of reading comprehension, decoding, and vocabulary. And she is the author or co-author of approximately 100 or more articles and 7 books. She has received a number of awards for her research, and in 2008, she was elected into the National Academy of Education, which is one of the highest honors to be received. We are so grateful for the contributions that she has made to the field and the support that she has provided to our School of Education over the years. So please join me in congratulating Dr. Isabelle Beck on this distinguished award. Dr. Beck, I am going to give you an opportunity to get on camera and say a few words. Congratulations.
Okay. It always happens.
It's okay. You are unmuted. And so if you can just get on video.
What about the video?
Yes.
It's okay?
Yes, you're great.
Okay, I'm there. Fine. Thank you. Thank you. It says start my video. Okay. Hi, and thank you, Dean Kenlock. That was a very nice introduction. You know, at times like this, I tend to think back to the many teachers I had who taught me so much that I needed to know to have the wonderful career that I eventually had. But my teachers were not only the professors that I had in class. In fact, my teachers were first graders through doctoral students, and I want to tell you a bit about them. The seeds of my research for 40 years came from a master's class I took at the university, in which the major assignment for the whole semester was to analyze a set of students' written papers. I wasn't teaching at the time, so I didn't have a classroom, but the professor gave me a set of fourth grade a classroom set of fourth grade students writing 3 paragraphs on each student's paper about rivers. And and we were to analyze them. Of course, in class, we talked a lot about what we should look for, what this writing could tell us, and that we needed to come to understand that we had to really see what they were doing. We had to develop categories that were derived from the students' work, and then see what kind of errors or good statements or whatever they made that would fit in the categories. Those seeds clearly were the basis for that research work over 40 years. Another group of my students were master's level students. And wow, teaching them was really enlightening. Most of them were in-service teachers, and they had so much to teach me. Nothing could replace what I learned from them, especially when they had difficulty understanding or verbalizing a concept. Those difficulties were like windows into what might be going on as they were trying to learn. Another group of my teachers, another group was the doctoral students, some of whom were simply superb thinkers and became collaborators on my research and co-authors on my 6 of my 7 books. I want to call out, or especially people that you probably know, Doctors Linda Kukin, Margaret McCowan, and Cheryl Sandora. Beyond the enormous contributions they made to the books, I was the beneficiary of their thinking about so many things. One, they're each thinking, but most importantly, when we fought together as a group. Wow, what did I learn? And the last category of teachers I'll talk about were those just learning to read. Of course, first graders, but in another venue, I taught adults, soldiers who didn't know how to read. It is of great interest to me that I learned more about beginning reading from the soldiers than I did from the little kids. But from the little kids, I learned so much about language. So as an example, consider the brilliant linguist Noam Chomsky's distinction between deep structure and surface structure about what someone thinks. Okay. Deep structure are the ideas and the emotions and the feelings that an individual has. And surface structure are the words used to express those feelings. Well, a 6-year-old named Daryl showed me those distinctions over minutes. Daryl, who was from West Texas, was transferred into my class in Fort Pitt School in Garfield in the middle of the year, well, around Thanksgiving time. Everybody fell in love with him, and everybody loved his accent. One of our routines on Friday afternoon was that I would read a story and then the kids would act it out. So one Friday afternoon, I read a story that I probably wouldn't read today, but it was the story of Rumpelstiltskin. Some of you may not know it, but it doesn't matter because that's not the point. So I read the story, and unsurprisingly, when it came time to act it out, Daryl became Rumpelstiltskin. So he asked me, as the kids were moving the chairs to make room for the action, what does Rumpelstiltskin say to the little girl when he sees her crying? And following the tenets of creative dramatics, I said, what would you say to someone if you saw them cry? And he said, yeah, he understood that. He was supposed to ask why she was crying, but he liked the way the book said it. So I turned to the book and it said, why are you weeping, fair maiden? Yes, that was it. And the smiling Daryl went off to a corner and mouthing or whispering, why are you weeping, fair maiden? Why are you weeping, fair maiden? Why are you weeping, fair maiden? As the kids started the action. The 5-minute performance of the story played out by the Fort Pitt first grade thespians. Yes, I had something to do with the last word, but the kids knew the word and loved it. And I'm just recognizing this minute, and it's probably the seeds of a lot of my vocabulary work. Anyway, the action starts where no good miller, daughter in hand, tells the king that this daughter can spin straw into gold. The king is no dummy, so he immediately sends the girl to a room filled with straw and asks her to spin it into gold. The young girl assesses her situation and starts to cry. Who wouldn't start to cry in such a situation? That crying was the cue for Rumpelstiltskin to appear. But Daryl was across the room mouthing, "Why are you weeping, fair maiden? Why are you weeping, fair maiden?" The kids yell, "Daryl!" He startles. He rushes across the room. He stands silently in front of the girl for a moment and then says, "Why you all crying, ma'am?" There it was, the best example of structure, deep structure and surface structure. And a note to Rick Donato, yes, I know it's more complex, but it's not wrong as far as it went. So, to the School of Education and everyone in it, and to all my teachers, including those I didn't mention, thank you so, so much. And as always, always hail to Pitt.
Thank you, Dr. Beck, for those wonderful words and that story. I'm taking away so many things from your comments. You talked about having wonderful teachers. You talked about what writing tells us, what writing shows us, how writing makes us feel. Also, importantly, you talked about collaborating with people and to be able to think with people. And for that, I am very happy and honored to give this award to you. I do hope that one day our paths will cross in person. I've heard so many wonderful things about you and your work. I know of your research, and I can only imagine that your research speaks to the wonderful, amazing human being that you are. So once again, congratulations and hail to Pitt. Thank you so much. And so we have one more award in this category. It is the second Distinguished Alumni Award for this evening, and it is the last award that will be given out this evening. And it is an honor to present this award to Dr. Linda Rose Frank. Dr. Frank is a two-time alumna of Pitt, who earned her Master of Nursing in 1983 and her PhD from the School of Education in 1990. She is a professor in the Department of Infectious Diseases at Pitt's Graduate School of Public Health, and she has secondary appointments in the School of Nursing and the School of Medicine. Throughout her entire career, Dr. Frank has dedicated her work to addressing the HIV epidemic, which has been done by providing essential, important training, consultation, and technical assistance. And in particular, she has focused on HIV clinics, community health centers, prisons, and other health settings. Among her many appointments, Dr. Frank is a fellow of the American Academy of Nursing, and she is a member of the Public Policy Committee of AIDS United. And before I turn it over to you, Dr. Frank, you actually can get on camera, and I will turn it over to you. But let me just say this about Dr. Frank. I remember meeting Dr. Frank, I believe over in the School of Public Health. And this was maybe a year and a half ago or almost 2 years ago. And I sat there listening to Dr. Frank talk about infectious diseases. I sat there listening to Dr. Frank talk about the ways that we need to engage in community spaces and think about the connections with health, medicine, and education. And it was at that moment that I realized, who is this woman? And to think that she has graduated from the School of Education at the University of Pittsburgh. I am thankful for the work that you do. and I am honored to give this award to you. And so from the School of Education, I present Dr. Frank with this award, Distinguished Alumni. Dr. Frank.
Thank you so much, Dean. And good evening, everyone. I am greatly honored to receive the Distinguished Alumni Award from the University of Pittsburgh School of Education. My PhD in 1990 provided me with the knowledge and skills to continue my work in public health. Education is and will always be key to changing the way individuals, communities, the nation, and the world think about addressing access to and delivery of prevention and treatment brought about by epidemics, pandemics, and other health challenges. I've worked in the field of behavioral health and infectious disease, specifically adult and child psychiatry, HIV, and now COVID-19 for my entire career. As a second-generation immigrant, I can attest to how access to education produces change and opportunity. The Pitt School of Education has provided me with a critical and lasting foundation for my work. And here's what I know about that foundation. First of all, my mentors at the School of Education, including Glenn Nelson, who was my dissertation chair, other mentors at Pitt have contributed to my learning and my career. In this month of celebrating women, I want to mention that many of these mentors have been strong and talented women who have supported and challenged me to do my very best work. This began with my mother, Rose, followed by women faculty, nursing colleagues, federal project officers, and others. These mentors have encouraged me to accept the challenge to develop innovative programs and projects to provide education and intervention that increases health and wellness for the disenfranchised, the poor, prisoners, those facing psychiatric problems, substance use, infectious diseases, and the related trauma of these health challenges. I've had the opportunity to work locally, nationally, and internationally, which has allowed me to expand my knowledge and understand in depth the importance of pairing education with trust, context, and culture. This has helped me to craft programs aimed at reaching populations and audiences that are not just the easiest, but to those audiences and people that have been deemed unreachable. My degree has also unleashed my passion for advocacy for the underserved, which led me to educate policymakers, legislators on Capitol Hill, not only to understand public health and education issues, but to recognize the need for tangible resources for individuals and diverse communities grappling with disparities. My many students and mentees over the years have contributed to my continued learning as we work together on important education and public health issues in my role as professor at the University of Pittsburgh in shaping future leaders and innovators. One of these students and a new leader, Dr. Christine McClure, who is one of those people, and she graciously nominated me. My patients, especially persons living with HIV, for whom I've provided care, worked and collaborated with, have taught me so much. My work is far from over. I move forward to educate and motivate the next generation of our workforce to improve public health by addressing the increasing challenges in changing and advancing our systems of care, our policies and services to improve outcomes for all. I'm so appreciative to receive the Distinguished Alumni Award from my School of Education at the University of Pittsburgh. Thank you again, and hail to Pitt.
Dr. Frank, you have said so many important things here, from talking about access to education, from talking about delivery of and prevention treatment related to health issues, to talking about addressing these pervasive challenges that stare at us and that we have to confront, we have to address, and we have to do this work in partnership with each other. And that last point that you said, that you are honored to receive this award from your School of Education. This is definitely your School of Education. I am excited that you are an alum. And I think that we talked before, a couple years ago, saying that there's something that we have to do together with each other. And I am looking forward to having that conversation with you again. It is an honor to present this award to you, Dr. Frank. And so congratulations from the School of Education to you. We honor you. Thank you. And so before we close our program tonight, I am going to ask all of our honorees to come back on camera. So if you can turn your cameras on, that would be great. And as you are turning your cameras on, let me just say a few words. It would usually be the case that we would have a large reception. We would be able to mingle and talk and see each other before the program. Then we would usually be in this big ballroom, and family and friends, colleagues from the School of Education, from our different communities would all gather. And then we would start this program and we would honor each and every one of you, just like we did tonight. The difference is we're doing this via technology and not in person on campus at the University of Pittsburgh. However, just look at this screen, look at this image of these wonderful alumni of our School of Education. And so I want to honor you. I want to thank you again. And this is the closest that we will get right now to getting a picture. And so before I continue with my comments, if you are on camera, Jerry, Ashley, Rebecca, I'm going to take a screenshot. All right. So if you want to get on camera, I'm going to give you like 2 seconds before I actually take this screenshot. I'm a selfie person, and usually I would be taking selfies the entire night. But on the count of 3, we're going to, I'm going to snap this picture. So 1, 2, 3. I'm going to do just another. All right, thank you so much. And I will make sure that this image is sent to each and every one of you. Our Distinguished Awards ceremony is definitely an opportunity for us to just pause, take a moment, recognize and celebrate our alum and the greatness of who you are and what you do. And as we have seen tonight, we have so many wonderful people in our School of Education and from our School of Education to celebrate and elevate. So to all of our honorees, I want you to know that you continue to inspire me. You continue to give me the inspiration to continue to do the work that I do on a daily basis. You are in this world. You are living out our mission vision statement to ignite learning, to strive for well-being for all. You are teaching. You are committed to student, family, and community success. You are committed to educational equity. You are advocating. You are working for justice. You are not just innovating and agitating, but you are also pursuing and producing knowledge with other people. And you are committed to, upending an equitable educational systems and practices that will benefit all of us. Your dedication creates opportunities and resources for all of our students at the University of Pittsburgh, and especially in the School of Education, that will help them to continue to not just survive, but also to survive and thrive and to become leaders of change agents, in fact. And so before we depart, I want to say a few more words. We're celebrating tonight. And we're celebrating in light of various tragedies that have happened in this world and in our different communities. We are experiencing a pandemic. We have been for over a year. In addition to a pandemic, we have seen the tragic events of the past few weeks and over the past year. And these events, if nothing else, demonstrate to me that we must remain committed to critical, engaged work. We must continue to stand with each other in advocating for justice in this world. And we also must take a moment to pause as we engage in this celebration to also recognize lives that have been lost by violence, lives that have been lost tragically, and to honor them and to remember them, from Atlanta, Georgia, to Boulder, Colorado, and to many other places and spaces. I ask that we hold people's families, communities, friends, and lost lives very close to us, continuing to do this work. And I'm reminded of the need to recommit ourselves, each one of us, to the work of educational equity wherever we are in this world. And we can do this in so many different ways, whether through our own work, whether through community engagement, whether across different community spaces, locally, nationally, regionally, and globally. The human interactions that we have are important. And so to all of our audience members, I want to extend a special thank you for joining us tonight. I want to say that it's wonderful to have so many people here with us, even in a virtual environment, to celebrate our honorees. And finally, I would like to also thank the alumni and development team, particularly our director, Michael Haas, and our colleague, Kyla, for organizing tonight's event, for making things run smoothly. I also have to thank the people who we oftentimes don't see. I have to thank Greg, who is our marketing director in the School of Education. I have to thank that entire team for putting this together and for saying, although we are not in person, we will still celebrate and we will still honor our alum. And so from the School of Education and from the Office of the Dean, I congratulate each and every one of you on your Distinguished Alumni Award. I look forward to seeing and continuing to witness the work that you do and will continue to do in the world.